I've been looking forward to this chapel for some time. The chapel today is going to focus upon the network. We've been looking forward to this ever since we've announced and been working on the development of this strategic step. Milton Glick, who is a provost at Arizona State University, has been involved in academic networks for a number of years. And my excitement has partly been influenced by some of his writing and sharing the experiences at that institution. Many of you in recent days, I know certainly many of the faculty have probably become aware that Case Western Reserve University, one of the leading institutions in the country and an institution that is especially renowned for the quality of their technological programs, spending $60 million implementing their campus-wide fiber optic network. But they're just one of a large number of institutions in the country who are working to improve their programs through the utilization of this type of technology. And we hope through today's chapel to be able to share with you more of what can be accomplished and of the excitement and the challenge which this brings to our campus. Over the last 3 decades, we have witnessed computing developments that stretch our imaginations, have challenged our creativity, and threaten our academic comfort zone. In a finger snap, modern supercomputers solve problems that were unthinkable a generation ago. Desktop workstations have democratized computers into routine tools of human productivity. High bandwidth networks bring the entire panoply of computer capability from the mainframe to the desktop. The ability to transfer data, text, and graphics at high speed opens the potential for new paradigms in scholarship. Computer technology is unquestionably part of today's higher education reality. It allows us to do more and to do it faster than ever before, permitting us to tackle research problems of major significance and enhancing access to databases, library resources, and even convenient registration. Yet in contrast to what has happened in the industrial workplace, networking technology is just beginning to impact institutional and curricular changes in higher education. Now, American higher education remains arguably the best in the world, an attribute few other American enterprises can claim. But that status is under attack. Both public and private higher education today are competing for resources in an environment of growing national deficit, in competition with society's demand for more prisons, improved K-12 education, and increased services to expanding numbers of long-term unemployed and underemployed. The demographics of the next century challenge us in a variety of ways. Legislators hear constituent objections to increase taxes today, and in turn they are arguing for higher productivity, greater accountability, and more responsiveness to student expectations from colleges and universities. At the national level, issues such as indirect costs have even dominated congressional hearings. Yet to many observers, American competitiveness in the future depends not only on educating more of our population, but especially upon increasing the fraction of our population who are known as knowledge workers, and knowledge work which is increasingly dependent upon computers and computer technology. The challenge of the 90s goes to the very essence of higher education. Can we use technology to empower institutions to be responsive to this new and rapidly changing environment? Can we use technology not only to do more with less, but to increase the quality and the impact of what we do? Can we use technology to help faculty and staff be more effective in what they are doing? And can we use technology to help us customize education for our clients, our students, in the way competitive businesses of the 90s have customized their products for their customers? Demands for changes in higher education are not new. And it is certainly my conviction that those institutions that are responsive to these issues of computer technology and how it will affect higher education are the ones who are going to prosper and who will serve their students even more effectively as we go forward than what has been accomplished in the past. In today's chapel, we will be focusing and presenting 3 samples of the kinds of things which can be done using computer networks in an institution of higher education. We hope that through this will give you a little bit of the feel for, enable you to catch even more of the excitement as to how this network will impact our educational environment on Cedarville College campus this coming fall. First of all, we're going to have an IBM multimedia presentation which has used the equipment that will be available to our faculty, who will be able also to produce similar kinds of materials for their classrooms. It also will be able to be utilized by students with the facilities which they will have available to them as well. Secondly, we're going to have some faculty demonstrations. These demonstrations will illustrate actual applications which will be able to be used by these faculty in their classes next fall. And finally, there will be some closing remarks by Dr. Dixon and by Mrs. Julie Walker on the Cedarville College IBM partnership in this exciting project.
Cedarville College exists for God and for the young people He sends to us. You ask any trustee, administrator, faculty, or staff member why we are here, and it's because of the young people. And I might add that in the providence of God, we get some of the greatest young people on planet Earth. Academically, spiritually, they're sharp. They want to be their best, to serve their Lord. And I honestly believe that this campus computer network is going to help them get to that place. It's going to equip them to not only walk out into the workplace, but they're going to have a testimony for Christ because they will have been prepared well. I am thrilled with what the coming days and months and years hold for these young men and young women after having this experience on our campus computer network.
Hey, you're going back to the dorm? I'll walk with you.
No, I have to go to the post office.
Well, I'd go, but I have to check my mail.
Well, then aren't you going to the post office?
No, I mean email. I'm expecting an important message on my computer in the room. A professor's supposed to let me know whether my paper topic is okay for this quarter.
I never get any email.
Well, I'll send you a note tonight then.
Great, thanks.
Tell you what, I will go with you. I need to stop by the computer lab and see how Sue's doing on my paper.
Sue's writing your paper for you? Where are your values?
No, she's just typing it for me.
Well, why don't you do that yourself? I took a class in word processing at the beginning of the year. It's so much easier to do it with the computer right there in my room.
Well, I've spent more time learning the spreadsheet program. I can make great charts. I just don't know how to put them into my paper.
Well, I can show you that. That's really simple. Then the only reason you need to go to the lab is to use the laser printer so your charts will look professional.
Sounds like Sue's out of a job.
And your values are intact.
So, do you know how to access the library over the network?
Of course. I've been doing it all quarter.
I have too. I just thought I could return the favor and help you out with that if you needed it.
Well, the library is nice, but I wouldn't want to live there.
I hope you don't spend all your time in your room.
No, but it sure helps to do all my work in my room so I can get to softball practice on time.
I know what you mean. A lot of my professors are giving assignments now that I have to do on my computer. But that's okay because I just make my homework fit my schedule. I can do it whenever I'm in the dorm. And if I have a question, I just fire off an email message to my professor.
Do you get an answer right away?
Not if I'm pulling an all-nighter. Except Mr. Rotman. I think he has a modem. I woke up one morning and he'd already answered my question from 3 a.m.
Wow. You know, I think it's amazing. I can review a media presentation we saw in class just by calling it up on the computer whenever I want.
Well, here's where we part ways. I'll send you that message tonight.
Okay, and could you send me the notes for U.S. history? I sort of missed that today.
Actually, the notes are already on the computer. I'll just tell you how to call them up.
Gee, thanks a lot. See you later.
Bye.
I'm excited about the campus computer network. The Lord certainly has directed us as a college family in reaching this point in our history. In fact, it's interesting that just this past week I received a letter from our consultant in this effort. He heads up the entire computer operations at Florida State, and he simply said, Cedarville College is making history. I do believe that this is of the Lord. I also want to commend those who've served on our information and technology task team that helped us to get to this point over the last 2 years. This campus computer network flows right out of the mission of our college. We are mission-driven and strategic planning-driven. Our mission hangs on my wall in the office, and it states very simply that we offer students an education consistent with biblical truth. And I think it especially noteworthy that the number 3 objective states to increase the students' awareness of the world of ideas and events which are influencing our contemporary culture and to prepare the student to knowledgeably participate in our society. That's what this network is going to do. It's going to help our students to leave this college and to be able to serve as godly professionals well prepared with the technology that's available in our culture today. I'm also very excited about the relationship with IBM. This has been known as a quality organization, a class organization for so many years, and for us to have this partnership and to be chosen as a National Showcase account, I think it's good for them and it's good for us. They're going to be a part of this marvelous student body that represents not only our Lord and a good value system, but it also stands for much of what IBM has stood for down through the years as far as being sharp and doing things well. So I thank God, I thank IBM, I thank all those who've had a part in it, and we're eagerly looking forward to what's going to be happening on this network as we begin the first phase in the fall of 1992.
Butler. I'm a 1980 Cedarville graduate. I'm currently manager of cost accounting down at Gibson Greeting Card in Cincinnati, Ohio. When I interview people to join our accounting department, I am looking for people who have personal computer experience. In fact, if I have 2 people who have basically the same qualifications, except one person may have some PC experience, I'm definitely going to take that person. I can't afford not to in this day and age. Departments of overhead or administrative departments like myself, we are being expected to do more with less. And if I have a person who has PC experience, I can accomplish that objective. I'm not going to have to spend the additional time training that person and utilizing a PC. They're going to also be able to make an immediate contribution to the company as opposed to 6 or 7 months down the road. In today's workplace, in finding a job, any little edge helps. And if I look at a resume and see PC experience or network environment experience, that's going to be a little star. And that may be the edge that you may need to get a job, a better job in today's workplace.
IBM customers are taking advantage of networking to be more competitive with the help of our broad range of network products and services and extraordinary depth of expertise and support.
We selected IBM as a vendor because we believe they would be a long-term player in the networking business.
We work side by side. They set an example to other vendors of sitting down at the same table and being able to design the network as well as implement the network.
IBM brings its name, brings its history, brings a large organization that has a lot of good people, a lot of talented people, and then with that, of course, it brings its hardware and its software.
IBM is ready to work side by side with you to help you design, implement, and manage a network that will help you achieve your objectives today and will grow as you grow. Whether you need to share text, data, voice, image, or video, whether you have a single or multi-vendor environment, whether your organization is local or global, IBM can make it all work together for you.
I will guarantee you that I will never sing in chapel. But I do like to have certain phrases that I've heard others say used in chapel, and I would like to say today, assisting me on keyboard is Mr. Miller. From the standpoint of the Bible department, we would like to demonstrate today something that you can use in the dorm room as you do your inductive Bible studies. Those of you who have read the syllabus understand that for prep number 1, we estimate a 3-hour preparation time. For those of you who have had the class, you realize that 3 hours is a minimal amount of time. I have had some students tell me they've spent as high as 21 hours on that first prep. I have had some I believe. We're going to demonstrate today how you can cut the amount of time used in the mechanics of your inductive Bible study to spend a greater amount of time on doing such things as synthesizing your big idea, observing the laws of composition. We're using a program this morning called Online Bible. It's a shareware program which is not only available on the network for next year, but will be available to every student who would like to have it for their own personal PCs at a minimal cost of, I think it's about $20. And I told Dave Rotman and Tim Hansel that they will be glad to do all the work for you. Just see them, they'll be glad to get the program for you. Online Bible, as you see on the screen, is able to do a word search used as a commentary. We'll simply take the word love, type it into and there you see on the left side of the screen the word love appearing. Now that will be able to do any type of commentary search. The nice thing about this is you will now be able to press F5 and notice the strong numbers come into the text that's on the screen. Those of you who have had to go through Strong in the library, use the 6 or 7 volumes that are available. Recognize how difficult it is sometimes to get those volumes in the library. You'll have all this access in your dorm room. Then if you would like to, you may type in F4. F4 will give you the strong number. You type in the strong number for love, and there you'll have Strong's definition on the screen. Once you have Strong's definition on the screen, notice it gives you the Greek word. It gives you the Old Testament word in this particular case, since we're in the Old Testament. It also gives you the number for the Theological Word Book of the Old Testament, which will alleviate looking from one volume to another volume, speeding the work that you're doing for your inductive Bible study. If you want to, then you may simply press F9, and that will print out on the computer which is in your room, finding the semantic range and the number also for the Theological Word Book of the Old Testament. If you're working in the New Testament, you can also do a phrase search, which is expanding the commentary search, using Kingdom of God or Kingdom of Heaven in this case. And notice every place that Kingdom of Heaven appears is there. Again, hitting F5, you get the Strong's number. F4 will give us the definition. Typing in the number for kingdom, which is 932, will again give you in this particular case, the New Testament word, and notice it is tied into the Theological Dictionary of the New Testament. One of the nice things about being able to use a computer in your room is being able to save time on the mechanical layout. Although Online Bible finds it very difficult to take text from one program to another, using a program called the New American Standard Computer Bible, we created a file for Philippians chapter 1, verses 1 and 2 to bring into the word perfect. Having brought it into word perfect, you can then use the return key and the tab key to create a mechanical layout of your text. This enables you to, on one moment of time, create the mechanical layout, review it on the screen as you're doing it, be able to change anything that you are doing in the mechanical layout so that you can do it exactly as you would like to see it done when it's finally printed, and then simply print that on a piece of paper. In addition, if you would like to put your outline right into the text, you may do that using WordPerfect's outline feature and then typing the outlines right into the text so that you're able to create a mechanical layout and an annotated outline at the same time, and then just print that out. Using both of these features will save you considerable time in the mechanics of the inductive Bible study, leaving more time for such things as observing the laws of composition, developing the big idea, making more concrete and specific applications, and of course time for mud volleyball as well.
I'll go ahead while he's trying to find us. I've lived with a computer person for a number of years and have fought it greatly. I'm a person who has trouble with windows and doors. And this year, when they started talking the network, I started thinking that maybe I ought to join the computer age. And it was a good thought, but I couldn't seem to force myself to find the time. And then finally, this quarter, I said, all right, this is it. Really need to do this. So I am what you might call your token non-computer person.
I feel like Victor Borga here.
I told him he had to be here so nothing would go wrong. So Dr. Baker has graciously consented to work with those of us who are non-computer people, and we have spent the last 6 weeks with his being very patient, and the people at the computer center have been very patient. They don't even laugh when they come over to put my main menus back on when I lose them. And when I started this, I thought of all the things I didn't like about computers. I like the fact that you can play games, but I don't like the fact that that is the major thing that they do in educational school, as an educational thing in the schools. And I came up with some really terrific goals that I had for using a computer. I said, first of all, it's nice to make it interesting and motivating, but that's not enough. You need to use technology via computer to really make education more effective. So what I want to be able to do is make learning quicker. I want to make it easier to really understand the concepts, and I want to make it more long-lasting. All that in 6 weeks. So what we've been doing is, Dr. Baker's been teaching me the technology, and we've been working together to put these things into those goals. So what we've come up with are just 3 of the things that we are using to make education more effective on the network and in our classrooms. These are 3 of them. I came up with the middle one. Dr. Baker tried to be professional. I said, this is education. So we started with multiple modalities because you really don't have to be in education to know that you learn a lot better if you're learning through a lot more things than just the eyes. And so, since that was pretty obvious, we started with that. And this is kind of fun to add all these extra things when you're writing the programs. So we want to show you some of the things that we came up with modalities. Now, you already have figured out that if you're adding sound and sight and movement to your learning, that you'll do it better. But in addition to that, and Dr. Baker's going to show you that, but in addition to that, sometimes we want something besides the eye gate. And in this particular case, I have a particular skill that is used auditorily. That's the asking of questions. And in the past, I've always taught this particular skill by having students read questions, read responses, write questions, write responses. Now, that's a nice idea, but it's not how they're going to use it. They're going to use this skill auditorily. So I wanted to teach this skill first auditorily, then add the text to it and put both modalities together. But I wanted to start with the way they were actually going to use it so that they would learn this more efficiently from the very beginning. So this is my simple
What caused the dinosaur to disappear? What caused the dinosaur to disappear? What are some things that might have caused the dinosaur to disappear?
You like that? I'm easily impressed. This is my first experience with technology. Here is one that Dr. Baker did, and I'll let him explain his.
Okay, this is for a class I teach called Communication in the Information Age. And in the introduction to the class, we talk about the concept of the information age. What I've done is taken some of the content that normally would be presented in class and put it up on the screen. It includes a diagram attempting to demonstrate the different stages in economic development. And then you'll notice on the text side, if you can see that, it's giving you some content and then referring to a couple of authors that we talk about in class, John Nesbitt and Alvin Toffler. There's an icon over Alvin Toffler that indicates that if you click on that, you'll get additional information about him. This brings up a picture of Toffler, describes some of his ideas, and in addition, if we click on one of those phrases, we will hear some digitized audio of Toffler's statement.
My wife and I just came back from a visit to China, where we were asked again and again and again, is it possible for a developing country like China, which has a large agricultural base, what I call a first wave base, and a smaller industrial base, what I would call a second wave base, is it possible for it to move to a third wave economic base without having to fully industrialize? And there is no simple answer to that. I think that there are things that developing countries can do to leap a stage, to avoid some of the pains and agonies that all of the industrial countries went through.
Okay, so this is material presented in class that then students are able to review in their rooms, in their dorm rooms on the network, which brings us to our next point.
AHA is what we call this in education. Since God made each of us so unique, when we present things in our classroom, many students are not ready. This is not the most optimum time for them to internalize the things that we're teaching. And so, as you've just seen with Dr. Baker, if it didn't quite get to the aha, oh yeah, I get that, if you weren't quite ready for that, we wanted to set it up so that you could go back and do it as many times as you needed to until you did get ready for that. And then the aha moment comes at the time that you're ready for it, not at the time that it happens to fit into our schedule for the classroom. So this is just my menu for one of the courses that I'm putting on the network. Those of you who've had thinking will be very pleased with this because you have to use it 2 years after you get it. We thought that would be awful helpful too, to have a little review. So the aha moment means that you can keep going back and in a multimedia way review things that, yes, maybe were presented in the class, but they didn't quite click. They maybe were at this level and you need them down here so that you can use them. So that was one of the second things that we found to be educationally efficient about this. The last one that we picked out was to communicate concepts better. Sometimes it's pretty hard to get students to understand what you're trying to explain to them. And so by looking at it over and over again, and then by our being able to add some motion and multimedia things to this, we can maybe explain it. This is a very simple concept that I start this course with, but it is foundational, and students must grab it immediately so that we can move very quickly from there. And this is the relationship in thinking skills between observations and inferences. So what I tried to do was to put together some movement and some multimedia so students would be able to see that. When we moved him over here, he slowed down, and I'm not quite sure why, but he does go a little faster. What I'm trying to do is show them that there is a gulf between observations and inferences, and it is a jump. And inferences are things that you don't really know, but that you conclude. And so by trying to put that into a multimedia fashion that you will actually have in your rooms, you can look at that a few times, and maybe you'll say, oh yeah, I understand that now. And they can internalize it, and we can go on a lot faster with the things that we're trying to learn.
This last example that we have is for a television production class, electronic field production, in which we're attempting to communicate the concept of the kinds of editing and relate that to the particular equipment that they'll be using. So we have a graphic showing the editor controller, and the concept we're trying to get across to the student is which tracks on the videotape will be changed as you press different buttons on the controller. As a result, we've got it set up, and this has been done by a group of students of mine. I have 4 students in an independent study this quarter who are working together with the Learner in the Learning Process class in developing this courseware for use on the network next year. As we push on the buttons, you'll see the tracks change on the example of the videotape on the side to help reinforce the concept of what is changing as you're working with the editor. So this kind of thing is not possible any other way other than having software that will handle it. And then the difficulty, of course, is getting the student access to the software. The network solves that problem by placing the computer in each of the students' rooms.
We're very grateful for all of those who came from IBM today to be a part of this presentation. And I would like for all of the IBM representatives to stand, if you would. We have a good row of them right down here, and let's welcome them, shall we? In making the decision on a vendor, one of the things that many told us, and especially our consultant at Florida State, is IBM will see to it that it works. And part of the agreement was that they are going to put a full-time person on our campus for the entire fall quarter. So there will be someone here making sure that everything is going well. They will also be involved in training student lab assistants and full-time computer services staff, so that these lab assistants can help you as students to come up to speed as we go onto the network in the fall. We're also very pleased that they have provided for the engineering department advanced engineering software for use on campus, and they're offering special support for the electrical engineering design projects, and also offering the opportunities for our students to serve internships with IBM at various times that there are opportunities. But especially we were delighted that because of this partnership, they chose to donate a significant amount of hardware and software to the new building. The entire computer lab in the new engineering nursing building is donated by IBM. It amounts to $70,000. And administratively, as we worked through that, we decided that rather than apply that gift to the building, that we would apply that gift to the network. And so that reduced the cost of the actual network, so in turn reduces the cost to the student. And today I'm happy to announce that we do have a firm number on costs that we can tell you. Next year for the student in the dormitory, with the computer in the dormitory, it will be $240 a quarter. And for those who have access to the labs, it's $75 a quarter. And again, we're grateful for all who've worked diligently to get this cost to be where it could be the most reasonable possible. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to bring to the platform Julie Walker. Julie is representing IBM and would like to share just a few things about the partnership.
Here, as we work with different clients, not only in education but also in the health industry, there are nurses that are bringing up patient records online where test input is brought immediately to their fingertips so they can make better decisions about the care of the patients. Engineers who are involved in the design cycle of products that need to shorten that cycle time in this very competitive marketplace and are using computer-aided design and computer-integrated manufacturing techniques, as well as business leaders, which many of you are in this room going to be, and that is to have at your fingertips executive information systems with spreadsheets, database tools, as to how to get that data closer to you to make the best decisions possible in a very competitive environment. We are very pleased with the partnership. IBM has chosen Cedarville as a showcase account. What that means is, one, that you get national exposure through the IBM system. Clearly, we're not only a U.S. company, but an international company. And we also give you the opportunity to work with us and our developers in future LAN products, or local area network products. And we chose Cedarville for a number of reasons. One is clearly the commitment that Dr. Dixon and his executive team has on a vision of where the college is trying to go, and also the quality of the students and the integration of the values that you bring together and the commitment you have as faculty, as students, and as lead administrators to meet those visions. We're a lot alike, Dr. Dixon, in that both our organizations come from a rich heritage of values. We've been in existence over 75 years, and we were founded on 3 basic beliefs which mirror many of what Cedarville is trying to accomplish. That's respect for the individual, which is clear here on campus. We can just feel it walking the campus, and as people come to visit the campus and see what you're all about, I know IBM customers and other institutions will want to talk to you and meet with you, and you are of the highest quality. We believe in outstanding customer service, the best possible, and we believe that the college is also delivering that not only to you, but also trying to ready you to provide service to the community and beyond. And also excellence in execution. Whatever we do, we want to be the best at those endeavors, and that's clearly the mission that Cedarville has been chartered on. So thank you again for the partnership. I'd like to present to you a token of our appreciation.
An exchange of Cedarville College pen and IBM pen.
Thank you.
So